Alright guys, TacticalRab here again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The OpTic guys did not have far to travel back from their victory at the World Championship, and Pred is straight away giving his perspective on the situation and exactly how they got to this point. Big drama though potentially going down after the tournament because ReeaL, the coach of New York Subliners, made some interesting comments on OpTic Texas earlier in the weekend, and therefore Pred was clapping back big time after they eventually won the big one. Some comments on potential Coach Lamar as well. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, what did you guys think about the Dashy weekend? I thought there were some great pictures, such as this one from all of the incredible talent. I'll just go full screen on this to make sure that Blaze gets in there with the fit that he had on Sunday, and Chance obviously on the left-hand side. Clay, though, is here on the right, and there's talk about whether Clay could become a permanent feature of the desk going forward. Depends exactly what Clay wants to do. Does he want to compete? Still, you know, could he coach? I don't really think the coaching is necessarily on Clay's radar, but you know, some sort of general management spot or something. I'm sure there'll be opportunities out there for Clay, but he's such a good personality that I'd love to have him as involved as possible in the scene, and being on the desk does make an awful lot of sense. Puckin actually says, "Dear the COD League," so, you know, he isn't the league, but, you know, obviously he works for the league, "please force Clayster to join us full-time on the decks next year," so basically just, you know, make him retire, and an Esports World Cup. Love the combo of Big Jim alongside Nameless and Alicat. They allow me to do my best work. So I think it would be cool to see another addition to the desk here. I think Clay does a stellar job on it. I know there's been talk now for a couple of years, you know, is it time to not exactly switch up the desk, but just kind of revitalize or rejuvenate the desk to some degree? I think the guys do a great job. I just wish there was a little bit more spice, you know, on the desk. Like, the segments that I think are great in regular sports are the segments of, you know, let's just say Sky Sports, when you've got Roy Keane and you've got Gary Neville, they're just going at it, right? They've got their own perspectives. And in many senses, this is the way that the American sports leagues have done it, where they have big personalities on the analysis desk talking not just about storylines, but their own opinions on certain things, and just making the desk like a much-watched segment. Like, I enjoy the desks, but I wouldn't say that I'm ever listening to the desk intently because it's like a must-watch segment of the broadcast. And I think there's a few things they could, you know, think about to maybe make that become the case over the next couple of seasons, just because we're at the end of another year. I think there's, you know, I think there's an argument to be made that even that element of the show can become better, right? And, you know, everything else I think is leveled up this season, and if Clay was to join the desk, I think that will continue to level that up as well. So Clay kind of drops the eyes emoji, so I don't want Clay to retire, you know, but if Clay does retire, then I think him becoming part of the desk would be probably my favourite outcome of all potential outcomes. Quickly then on the Esports World Cup, because ProLoot seemed like he was getting screwed over bad, and maybe he still is, but effectively, he was on the Omet Brooklyn team with Cammy, Awakening, and Purge. They then ended up joining the Boston Breach, of course, which left ProLoot on his own on a team that had qualified for the Esports World Cup, but they basically told him, yeah, unlucky, because your team's left you, you're out of there, and we're bringing in the next seed instead, which was the Houston Spartans. Potentially, though, for ProLoot, Fire has decided on the Houston Spartans not to compete at the World Cup, and, you know, just to take care of himself and everything like that. So wishing him the best. But it's possible that that's opened up a spot for ProLoot to step in, so he's going to get to go and attend anyway. So, yeah, just wishing the best for all involved there, but I thought that was a rather important update to bring. But let's talk about the situation with OpTic Texas, right? This is kind of crazy, by the way. Shotzzy is now an owner of 3 World Championship rings. One of them was online, sure. One of them was in Halo. But his record in finals at Champs ain't bad. I mean, he 4-0'd the Tox team as it was back then. 5-1 FaZe in MW19. 5-1 to the Subliners. And, of course, walked away with the weekend MVP as well after just a phenomenal weekend. This is pretty cool as well from Karma, of course. Mr. 3 rings, 2013, 14, and 17. Even 2019, of course, he was 3rd. And as a coach over the last couple of years, his record is not bad, right? It's becoming not bad at all. He's competed or coached for now 8 World Championships, and he's won 4 of them, technically. 3 as a player, 1 as a coach. And whether you guys think this is like a curse or not, it definitely continues in terms of going back-to-back in World Championship Grand Finals. So difficult to do. I thought if there was a team that could do it, this year's New York was definitely there, but I definitely felt like OpTic were the favourites to win the entire thing come the championship Sunday. But yeah, so Envy, they won the title in 2016, they came back next year in 2017, and they lost in the finals to OpTic. FaZe did the same thing in 21, they came back in 22 to the finals, they lost to the Thieves. And now, of course, the Subliners, the same thing has occurred again. So, you know, the champs curse on some level continues, right? Technically, the Los Angeles Thieves broke the champs curse last year because they won an event after winning the World Championship, which had never been done before, but winning champs after winning champs has just never happened with the same roster. And even this year for the Subliners, had they won the events, they wouldn't have done so with the same team as they did last year because they made the controversial change last offseason. When let's talk about OpTic, right? They won the entire thing. Kenny, Pred, Shotzzy, Dashy, everyone I'm sure was waking up absolutely buzzing, and that's what occurred here, right? So Pred decides, let me turn the stream on, absolutely farm all the, you know, the subs and the donos, everything like that. I thought it was really cool to see. And yeah, Pred rocked up in his jersey that he was potentially still wearing from the night before, right? He had a bit of a rough one based on how his voice sounds in this, but I wanted to share a couple of clips here, one of which on accuracy. And look, I'm not sure if I fully buy what Pred is talking about here, but I will say it anyway on exactly what the case was with accuracy, whether he was coaching the team, exactly what was happening, because as far as Pred is concerned, he was just hanging out in the cool, just, you know, playing some Valorant with the boys, you know, like nothing serious about it. But yeah, confirming that that screenshot was real, that accuracy was in the cool with OpTic Texas, but no, he was just hanging out, just having a good time.
Yeah, chat. Yeah. Let's fucking go, baby. Yeah. 25 gifted from Salami Kabish. Psycho season with the tier 1 chat. We are going fucking crazy. Oh my god. Chat, we are the fucking chat. That did, dude, okay. So when Lamar was in our Discord chat, that wasn't anything, bro. That wasn't like a... That was nothing crazy. It was just him, like, it was just in there. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. It was just in there. He was just there, like, just chilling. Why are you guys acting like he was coaching us or something?
So I'm sure the full story on the accuracy thing will come out eventually. I'm not exactly sure why OpTic can't talk about this in as much detail as maybe they would be able to otherwise. It's possibly because accuracy is still going to compete, it seems, for Minnesota Rocket at the Esports World Cup. So I don't necessarily think that contract ever ended. So, like, if accuracy was working with OpTic in some capacity, which I think he probably was, it would have been in, like, an unofficial capacity anyway. So, you know, I imagine that might be why this is not being talked about as much. But I don't really, you know, Pred's laughing when he says it. I don't really know if I fully buy the idea that accuracy was just hanging out in the call. I don't think there are a few moments on the watch parties this past weekend where you could kind of tell that, you know, accuracy had some involvement in the decision-making of that roster. But some of the drama really here from Pred was actually about this moment here. So this is on, you know, the 20th of July, before Subliners are due to play OpTic for the first time. Of course, they played them twice on the weekend and lost on both occasions. But ReeaL, coach of the team, said that, you know, no threats, basically. That OpTic, they're not going to pose a serious threat to the run of the Subliners to this World Championship. Of course, we saw Sender as well say before the championship Sunday, we ain't losing tomorrow, right? We're taking this whole thing. So, you know, pretty funny clip here, to be honest, from ReeaL, certainly in hindsight. Not everything is going to age well. It is what it is. But I think that New York were just really confident this event, given the fact that they won. They did the same thing last year, right? They won last year's Major 5, and then they won the World Championship, and then this year they thought they were going to be doing the same thing, and basically ReeaL said, yeah, there's no threats from the green wall. We're going to take them down and run it back and do the same thing. And obviously it's good to have some confidence in your team, right? But it definitely seems like, I mean, OpTic clearly saw that, right? Those comments from ReeaL, coach of the Subliners, and decided that they were going to come diffy, right? So Pred tweets this out yesterday, no threat, hashtag feeling dangerous, which is clearly a shot, right? It's clearly a shot back at the Subliners and ReeaL to say, hey, like, you said we weren't the threats, like, we beat you twice, slammed you in the finals type thing. So definitely thought that was rather entertaining. There were some other things said as well. This another great image, you know, obviously I knew there was going to be some great photos coming out over the weekend here. It's a shame that Kenny's face is like slightly cut off here by another trophy, but like, okay, this is another angle of what I'm sure was a phenomenal shot from a different angle. Even just looking at this image, like I was mentioning this yesterday, but the banner on around the venue here, just kind of the way that it would go round, like it was just so well executed, right, from so many perspectives. Wanted to just run through this real quick as well for you guys before we close out the video here from JP. So he turned the stream on and was discussing many of the things on the event, and you know, shout out to Flyers putting together some of the highlights of this, discussing Subbase and kind of saying they did play it in the finals, or they could have played it in the finals. It was map 8, I think, in the end in the series, and they made a decision on what they wanted to play good side or bad side on, and saying that they always had New York's number on Karachi, and therefore they was kind of surprised that New York chose Karachi Game 3 control rather than in the invasion, because they vetoed it in the winners finals. He says that you know, EWC, it's going to be difficult to lock back in for, which is probably fair enough, but I think that's going to be the case largely for probably every single team, especially the ones that probably don't want to team with each other anymore, might be forced to based on the way that things go. Couldn't applaud Kenny enough, no surprises there. This was maybe the most interesting thing to me, that the teams they practiced against were FaZe, Miami, Surge, and Subliners, generally, right? Those are the teams they tended to go against, because I guess those were the teams on the other side of the bracket, really. So that's who they practiced against. They scrimmed Seattle a ridiculous amount, which is pretty cool to see that, you know, Rambo Ray and the team over there. I actually think that Surge deserve a lot of credit for their performance, right, and how it went with Rambo Ray, because he was getting lots of criticism of the coach, but I generally think that the decisions that he made this season, the controversial aBeZy acquisition, of course, finally getting aBeZy's role right. Okay, mistakes were made at the start of the season getting Arcetes and Illy and aBeZy. That was never going to work. But as time went on, they did seem to form a great culture surge. And, you know, apparently OpTic think that Surge were a really good team, and surprised they didn't make it further. He actually said he was surprised they didn't do better. He said on Vista they were ridiculously good, compared them to last year's OpTic team with Hook and, you know, Ghosty for Hardpoint or whatever. So maybe if that's true, then Surge will not look to be making changes in the off-season. I guess we'll see how time goes on there. And, you know, he basically said he knew they'd face New York again after the winners brackets, said that if he wasn't, he thought it'd be Thieves, kind of implying that they didn't really believe so much that Toronto are going to be that much of a threat. So pretty cool stuff there, not going to lie, from the OpTic side. These as well are covered of cards over the weekends. Champs card, MVP Shotzzy, and yeah, not bad. 4-0, of course, on the weekends. Gets his second Call of Duty ring. This picture's hilarious as well. But yeah, Shotzzy was an absolute force to be reckoned with all weekend in basically every single mode. His control as well was ridiculously good. But I think the search and destroy was arguably the most important part of his game. And this now is Kenny's career card, because he's won championships with TK, with 100 Thieves, with Los Angeles Thieves, and of course now with OpTic Texas. 51 pro tournaments he's played. Obviously, of the LAN tournaments he's played, he's made the finals on a large number of occasions. He's made 15 LAN finals, 17 finals overall, average placing, series win-loss. Now he's won the World Championship twice. So, you know, you've got to wonder, I think, where numbers like this put Kenny on an all-time perspective, because, you know, he's won a lot of tournaments given his time in the game, and the teams that he's won those tournaments on are not exactly, okay, they're talented, obviously, stacked with talent, you could argue, but not dynasty rosters as teams and players have done it within the past. So I just think, you know, what Kenny was able to achieve this weekend was very impressive. Pridge, by the way, topped the numbers for the KD numbers on the weekend, a 1.19 for Pred, a 1.18 for aBeZy, then Shotzzy, then HyDra, then Simp. So some usual suspects in there, but interesting that aBeZy again, same thing I think happened at Major 4, had a very competitive weekend. And, you know, if OpTic are anything to go by, Surge are better than they initially appeared this weekend. And to be fair, they did fight very close with Subliners in that very first round before then bowing out of the tournament because they bottled it to the Miami Heretics. But very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.